Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's
My
RDG
mom's
here.
a pile of who just left.
Oh no!
How's that for an intro?
So morbid.
Oh,
Good night,
my
everybody.
So dark.
All
Must
right,
be the
I'll see
DC
y'all later. Bye.
universe.
Tonight, why is everybody on the right side? Like, have their cameras off. What's going on here, guys?
Oh, yeah.
I was leaving after that joke.
I forgot.
Eric forgot. You can't see your cameras off.
I stopped paying attention.
This isn't a retrospect. It's a can of laughs. That's all it is. We're just... Oh, goodness
It's
gracious.
not a retrospective. It's a non-focused perspective.
Yeah, there it is. There you have it.
But speaking of way, this is for those who are just tuning in now, didn't watch last week's. We're continuing with our Fantasti-Car lineup, but we're making a quite suddenly, I guess, a new change. So goodbye, Blue Eyes. Hello, Tiara wearing
Tiara?
that jive turkey. Luke
That
Cage.
hero for hire.
I wonder if any other streams are hiring.
I've looked.
No. Damn.
I've tried to get rid of my channel, but they won't let me. They won't let me on their channel either. So anyway, so yeah, tonight we're going over 168, 169, and 170. The three issues that he has on his couch right there. Really has one of them.
Heck yeah. Look at those covers.
Oh, hang on. I gotta.
And he's got the third one.
Okay, let's just full screen style.
Full screen them. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I hit the wrong button. I hit my own full screen.
All about you.
Oh yeah.
And
Bedlam in the Baxter building.
170.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful books.
All right, so we'll just leave them up there. Just hold the books the whole time.
Let's not. I'm not pretty like the other three of you.
Ah, shucks.
That is true. Skip is the handsome guy here. That's why he's here to.
That's true.
We can't. Zach has been voted out. Zach is
What?
no longer
But
the handsome guy.
I'm his twin. By
Skip-
definition, we look the same.
He's got a beard.
Skip's
But if
the
we're
cold-hearted,
twins-
handsome devil.
Yep.
I'm not gonna fight. It's a losing battle with
Look at that! Look at that setup behind him. It's so inviting. The bed and everything.
Where all the magic doesn't happen.
Yeah, they,
Absolutely.
I mean, Eric's already smoking, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that was some backstage magic.
oh my gosh.
He's our now official Rip Taylor.
So
Rip
but yeah. And I don't think we've done this before, or well, maybe with Secret Wars we have, where we cover books that take place right after the books we covered the previous week.
Yeah,
we did that with Secret Wars, but I don't think we do that too often.
We broke it up into 3 parts because it was 12 issues long.
Yeah.
And this has been like I said, I don't really read Fantasti-Car, so those other 2 issues you read last week.
Last week,
Those are my first dabble into the 100s.
Mm-hmm.
The ones before that, though, that I read were the Tom DeFalco ones, which is, I believe, in the 400s.
3s and 4s.
3s and 4s, yeah.
And let's just say these are much better. But although I will give credit where it's due, I did like the fact when they found Reed Richards, he's alive. He had the really long Robinson Crusoe hair going on here with the long beard. It was like, wow, it's like I've never seen homeless Reed Richards before.
Sure you have. Just look at Reed Richards and Dan Slott's run. He's got like the beard and everything. It's a little bit more groomed.
Wait,
but
go back and think about what you said.
go back and look and yeah, what about it?
You said Reed.
Reed.
Slott.
Reed
What?
Dan's
I don't get
Reed and the Dan Slott run. Whatever. You why do I come on streams with this guy?
So yes, what's great about this, and I guarantee this was not planned at all, because we're doing Luke Cage. That's how I invited Skip. No, it was this coincidence that Skip was available. You know,
Coinky dink.
we did not hire him because he's a hero for hire.
I've even got the bald loop. Well, actually, back then he might have not been bald. That was
No,
like
he-
I don't
he
think
had
so.
newer thing.
You
Yeah,
know,
he had a full head.
I
of
He
always
hair.
had the hair back then.
I always
Yeah.
forget because I never see you without the hat on, so I always forget that you're big.
Yep. There's nothing up there.
Me too. That's what
That might be the second best straight line that I'm going to take a pass on. There you go, Ash. I'm being nice to everybody.
So last week in issues 166 and 167, we had the Hulk versus the Thing, resulting at the end of 167, where the Thing reverts back into Ben Grimm.
Yeah,
And
because the
because of
Hulk's
this,
gamma radiation offsets his cosmic ray powers.
so what's resulting, we get a very cranky Ben Grimm throughout this whole entire first issue here, especially when he finds out he's being replaced.
Okay, well let's set this up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first thing, Johnny announces he wants to leave.
True.
He wants to leave of absence, and Ben doesn't start out cranky. It starts where he's heading to the Baxter Building with Alicia,
Oh yeah,
and gets stopped by some autograph seekers.
Mhm.
And the first of the in jokes is, so we caught your one woman gallery at the Kurtzman, your one woman show at the Kurtzman Art Gallery.
Yeah.
Harvey Kurtzman, that's who that was a reference to. Was an
okay.
EC artist and the first guy in charge of Mad. He had a falling out with Bill Gaines and then went to work for Playboy for years. And I don't remember if he came back or not, but he's a very famous cartoonist.
Okay.
Marania, we are all fine on my end. I would say
Yeah,
try.
it looks fine to me. I'm looking on YouTube. It
I'm
looks
on my phone right here. I'm perfectly fine.
I don't look fuzzy.
So
But
I
the
mean,
first,
not fuzzier than normal.
but yeah, so that's the first one where the fans are, for her, and he's fine with that. Then he gets to the Baxter Building, and the elevator operator doesn't recognize him, and only lets him use the elevator because he recognizes her.
Yeah.
Now, I would think he would have been told, but it's helps the plot along.
Yeah.
So then he shows up and finds out that just like that, he's been replaced.
Yeah.
Then the crankiness ensues.
but his accent, the dialogue, I love it through here. It's just, I'm just reading it. And the funny thing about this is that I'm reading it because I watched the cartoons, so I know what he sounds like based off the cartoons in the 90s.
Mhm.
You first reading it, I don't think you had a preferred voice, did you? Of an actor, or you just read it with your own voice? That's how I read stuff. That's how I read stuff, especially after I've heard it on TV or cartoon. Sometimes I read, like Kevin Conroy. I read him, all Batman books in Conroy's voice.
I typically, like with the Thing, like I'll read it like maybe in the Michael Chiklis voice from the movies,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like I'll try, like I tried to kind of think of it with like a heavy Brooklyn accent more than that, but yeah, he does have some.
Yeah.
It's very well written. His dialogue.
It was a
and his
combination of
accent.
Michael Chiklis and then Eric Breen.
Kinda. But yeah, no, it's actually really funny because I think it's either while Johnny is on his way, or while Ben is on his way up to the top of the Baxter Building, or it's maybe right before, but Johnny's like getting hot-headed, pun intended, with Reed and Sue, and there's like a joke that he makes at Reed's expense. He's like, you've been married for so long or so old, you forgot how to romance a woman or something like that. And Sue's like, hey, that's not called for. Also, it's not true. It's like, that's kind of funny. But yeah, because Johnny and Ben, they both get, there's some dialogue with both of them. I think that's really well written.
Well,
But yeah, Ben, it's always funny to me because Ben, every time he's the Thing, he's all like, I wish I could be human like the rest of these guys. And then he gets turned human. He's like, I wish I had superpowers like the rest of these guys. Like, what do you want, dude? Make up your mind.
He's gone back and forth. There are times when he accepts being the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think the period of adjustment he's going through, I guess his ego, when he realizes that he's been replaced that quickly, even though, as we're going to find out, there's far more to it, that it's sort of like does he really want that does he really want to be an orange scaly monster, or is he just, like the fear of missing out, or
I gotta say, throughout these 3 issues, I love how Alice just kind of like she stays calm and she's like, "Dude, you were a great guy before you turned into the monster, and you're still the same person." So I mean, like she's like just basically trying to calm down, and like you said, like, and I just love, like I said, like the longer it gets, the more his accent gets thicker.
Well, and remember, like I said, and after he finds out that he's been replaced, he goes, "Well, I'm going to be on a talk show, and maybe this will be a whole new career."
Yeah.
They cut it down to one line.
Yeah.
Cut it.
They cut out the whole interview.
Then he calls a friend, and the guy said, a week ago I could have gotten any show you wanted. Now
You're human.
he goes, maybe I could get you on a local show if you have some clips of the thing.
Yeah.
So he's I love. And then he slams the phone down, and he says, "You could have broken the phone." He goes, "A week ago I'd have broken the whole blamed desk." So it's like, is it a little heavy handed? Yeah, but again, but you also got to remember, you got more in an issue of a comic book in 1975, because this would have been December 75. Than you get in any 4 or 5 books today. So there's, they move things along pretty quickly.
Was this George Perez doing the art on these issues as well? Or?
No, it's Rich Buckler.
Rich Buckler, okay. Because I know he did the last couple issues that we were talking about.
And he, I think he did a couple issues of the Counter Earth Galactus story, and I know John Buscema did a couple of them, but yeah, there's so. We get we find out there's Reed hears on the police scanner that the wrecker is broken into a bank. So as fate would have it, the Fantastic Four, they're gonna get to stop one guy, but that's what they do. So they go to deal with the wrecker, and
you get the little subtle hints what's going on when they start to get the wrecker speak.
Well, and the thing. And Ben wants to ride with him.
That's
yeah.
And they don't want him to go. But Johnny says, "Here, I'll make the decision easy," because he starts giving Luke shit for taking his seat. So Johnny agrees to fly, so they can both go. And then Ben detaches his car to attack.
He's like,
the wrecker.
"I'm gonna go in first." Yeah.
It doesn't go well.
Oh my gosh! If you have a picture of that where he's in the little car, it looks like those little quarter machine cars.
No, what he looks like is Slim Pickens riding the nuke in Doctor Strange.
That too.
Yeah, it's Ben. Because he's got the mindset like he can still do anything. Like the thing, it's like, dude, you can't. And Wrecker's there. He's got his, Norn Queen gifted crowbar. He didn't use the crowbar on Ben, which is smart, because if he had, he'd probably kill Ben. He just decides to go at him with his fist. But he knocks Ben out. Then the rest of the Fantastic Four show up, and
the wrecker said he's like, "Man, I don't think I even need to use my crowbar. I'm just gonna use." It's been a long time since I actually got in a fist fight.
And he also says, "I don't even know why I'm robbing this bank."
Yeah,
Isn't there like a callback to the in that book as far as an issue like the wrecker? He used not the crowbar, but he used his fist when he fought against Thor, right? The first time, didn't he?
I don't know if there was a callback for that or not.
Now there's a neat little scene where Ben is trying to turn back into the thing, because he goes,
"Oh yeah, the Hulk!
If the Hulk can do it, maybe I can." And
he tries to get mad.
He's just sweating. He's like, "I'm not gonna work."
Yep. Yeah. And then he gets mad because when he comes to, Johnny and Reed and Luke Cage, they're all off fighting the wrecker, and Sue's like tending to him, and then Sue goes in. He's like, "Well, doggone it, if I'm gonna let Sue get into the action before me." And so he like gets up and rushes back in. Like,
so obviously, they work it out. The wrecker has Ben up on the roof of the
the building they're building. Basically, the iron scaffolding is off.
So Reed and Luke work it out. He gets the wrecker to throw Ben off. Luke catches him. And then, of course, Luke takes care of the wrecker like he did in Defenders 18. And then, Ben afterwards takes a punch at him, just about breaks his hand.
He says, "I nearly broke my neck."
And he goes, that wasn't my. He goes, that was your own dumb idea. And then he goes, yeah, one of my many dumb ideas, like thinking I was somebody. Now that I'm just plain Ben Grimm.
Yeah,
Good
he has a
ending for I mean, because now
big old
he's
pity
got an
party.
inferior complex. It's which makes the opening of 169 fitting.
Yep.
That he'd be drinking alone in a bar.
And like I said, the artwork on this, and just seeing Ben drawn.
I gotta say, this cover.
Yeah.
This is never done anymore because
Hold on.
Modern audiences would think it's silly. But when you'd have the giant villain looming over everybody, because they used to do it with Dr. Doom all the time.
Yes, and
I thought this was so cool of a cover. But like I said, this is not done anymore. But you used to get these when comic books didn't aspire to be anything more than comic books.
Yep. So like I said, everyone drawn in this. I like how Eric Buckler draws these different characters. All the guys in the bar, even the girl, and just like he gets hit on by this girl, and he's just like, "Go away," and then she gets offended because he turned her down. She gets another guy to go and start a fight with him.
Wilbur, you want to buy me a drink?
You know I would, honey. He just goes there and starts a fight with them, and then this is funny. It's like you get this big old hick guy. He's got the showing off his chest. I get the vest on, and then he gets knocked out.
Like,
and
I came from West Virginia to the big city.
I ain't got no nicer since I hit the big city.
He's like, boy, it's like, oh, where'd it go? He's like, don't worry about it, Lantern Jaw. I'll be back before you miss me.
Now,
right.
After he decides not to fight and they kick him out, and he changes his mind, I thought these 2 pages are phenomenal because it's like what's going on in the bar juxtaposed with battles he's fought as the Thing.
Yeah, and you see
the way they work those is just so so well done. And I said, of course, it ends the way it has to. He's outnumbered. Guy clocks him from behind before the team shows up. But like I said, if for people that are watching,
yes,
when you read that, pay attention to those 2 pages because I think it's just really, really well done.
Fantastic Four number 40?
Yeah.
Here, hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. They show like the poses, like when he fights Doctor Doom or he fights the Sandman, and then that is a really awesome technique. The
only thing that's missing from those is asterisks on the page.
Well, I don't know if those are exactly from. Are those exact?
Well, like the one
they're callback to those issues. Like
well, Doctor Doom. Too made to mention the where he's tossing Sandman and Blastar. I think that's 63.
Okay,
but that's not really important to the scene. It's more of a generalization of what he used to be and what he's been reduced to.
Yeah.
I like when Reed and Johnny enter. They got the trench coats on, the matching trench coats.
Yeah, with the big 4 sticking out.
Y'all aren't trying to go incognito at all.
No.
Well, of course, the Human Torch goes in there and just burns.
We're just neighborly, and Reed's like, no, screw it, flame on, bro.
Yeah, well, he goes, I like that. He said, what makes you think you're one of them crummy superheroes? Oh, I don't know. Just illusions of grandeur, I guess.
Yeah.
And I love when Reed goes, a simple hand of flame would have sufficed. He goes, those jerks had it coming. But so that's I love this. I love that scene. And then, of course, the other girl, you really are the Ben Grimm? And can you do something strong for me?
Crushes the beard can.
Now again, before you poo-poo that,
it's hard.
1975,
those are steel cans.
These things were steel.
Yeah.
So I said,
your cans were hard to.
Now they're aluminum. It's like, boop.
Yeah. I mean, the bases are still hard to squeeze, but all of this was hard to squeeze in those days.
That's what she said.
Actually, I know, because I know I have a friend of mine who actually collects the older beer cans from the 70s ones, or the pull tabs.
Yeah.
Before, and those are like those. You can kill someone with that.
Beer can collecting got real big in the 70s, like mid 70s, I think.
Hmm.
And that was back when we used to go looking for them like on the side of the roads. And if you dug up enough
Dirt.
underbrush and stuff,
Yeah.
you could still find cone tops,
Oh, nice.
which means that those places hadn't really been cleaned out in 20 years.
Oh no.
But anyway, so we go back to the Baxter building, and Luke's hanging out with Sue, Alicia, and Franklin.
Little Franklin.
And
yeah,
then
it's a Franklin appearance in this issue.
and then unbelievably he kills him. And then he looks up and says, "Wouldn't be right to let you live after we killed Franklin. He was our friend."
I was waiting for the joke.
Yes!
I know. He finally fits. Finally fits after 50 issues
And
what?
I'll use it 50 more times.
Of what?
Of what?
wall
More what?
That mass menace.
Hey, how did
Spider-Man.
that get
Yes.
brought up? That doesn't make any sense.
Because that's all we read is in here, Spider-Man.
That's true. We need to get some Fantastic Four
So
in here.
I told you, Zach's like, no more,
No more, please. My Spider-Man days are behind me. But
He-
no, I do think it's funny because Luke Cage, he starts like lifting up the sofa and like doing things to entertain Franklin. It's like
right.
Franklin's like, "Oh,
Look
look
at-
how he picks up the sofa."
Now-
And then Franklin says, because Alicia's holding him, it's like, "Aunt Alicia, look how he lifts up the sofa." I'm like, dude, she's blind. She can't see him.
Yes, dear. I'm blind.
Right,
Now
anyway.
we forgot to mention that
Before this,
in 168,
yes,
when Ben was crossing the street with Alicia, he felt a tug,
yes,
Yes.
and
and then it went away.
I remember that.
right. So
Yep.
and then
That's another little clue as
Yes.
to who our overall big bad is. Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
Luke,
Ultron. No.
Luke turns on him, and he kind of fighting Sue, and then
Mhm.
then the guys get back, and of course Ben reaches him first, and he gets knocked out again, and Luke in typical comic book fashion is able to get past the entire team to make his escape. And
Well, he threw the curtains over Sue Invisible. He's like, "Oh, that's that easy." It's
But
like
yeah,
people
but
throwing paint on an invisible man.
so he gets to the hangar, and this is something that this is why I love this era of comics.
Mhm.
There's a scene where he's trashing stuff, and a little cylinder falls onto Doctor Doom's time platform.
I noticed that. I thought it was going to come back later in the story, but it never
Oh
did.
no!
I like
But where
how
it comes back,
I like how Ben tried to go fight against Luke
Well,
and he got backhanded.
let Breen tell us where it comes back. Where it
Yeah.
comes back in. Yeah.
You know what? Zach got the spoil. Ash got the spoil. I want to spoil. Okay.
Well, you don't know what you're spoiling for one, but this becomes the big story for the Fantastic Four. One of them starts off in Marvel Premiere with the Liberty Legion, crosses over into the Invaders, then into the Fantastic Four annual, then into the Marvel 2-in-1 annual, and finishes in Marvel 2-in-1 because that cylinder goes back to World War II and gives the Nazis a way to win the war. And Ben has to go back and fix it. The first time he takes the whole team, and when he gets back, the Watcher's just hanging out and is kind of looking at him funny. And he goes, "We didn't finish the job, did we?" So the FF's out of the story, but that's how it ends up in the 2-in-1 annual in that issue. Phenomenal story, well worth a future retrospective because it's also because I said it's the other Ben is human the whole time, and when he gets back to World War II, he meets this little paper boy named Johnny Ramita. And the cops are all thinking, or they're all spooked by him. And then, of course, since he's human, he can take off his head. And, So anyway, but I digress. Great
Jackson
story.
Roycart's saying I love that era. And hello to
Yeah.
Bianca.
Yeah, hey, Bianca, Rhaegar, Jackson Roy Kirk. What's up, guys?
Zach Richmond.
Zach Richmond. Yeah, I'm in there. Wow, there's two of me.
Skipper Von Du. Hello.
There's 5, but
Well, there's.
So I guess you can
there were
dispatch
lots.
one of you to the chat.
I guess so. Yeah.
So, Skip, your impressions, if any.
Sounds like a fun Fantastic Four issue. Yeah, sounds fun.
God, if you'd answered, "Oh, I don't do impressions. My training's in psychiatry," that would have made my night.
I wish I could have done that for you. I have no idea what that reference is.
Airplane.
It's been a while. Got to
Well,
brush
you
up on
probably
my,
have more to
Leslie
do.
Nielsen, right?
Yes, you probably have better things to do than watch it incessantly like I used to.
You'd be surprised. I don't have that. I never had that much of a life, but
Wow, that's kind of like Zach.
I'm
we
not
are
going to comment.
twins.
So,
I'm not going to comment on that.
so
We are twins.
Luke
That's
gets
true.
away.
Yep.
In the modified Fantasti-Car, and that's important because a long-standing mystery gets solved early in issue 170, and that's when Reed shows Ben who is really replacing him in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's like just
No.
mind blowing from being like as a kid
Mhm.
reading
Well,
this.
Okay, okay. It was for me because my first issue was 167, but if I'd been reading like 1 year earlier, there was a storyline on a different counter Earth where in this Earth, Reed Richards was the thing, and Johnny had been, like horribly wounded in Vietnam, and basically he was like a shell, but he was like this character called Guard, who looked like a hockey goalie, but he was like on the outskirts of the planet.
I think I see he's Lieutenant Dan.
And that's who Ben thinks he's being replaced by.
Yeah, I read about that. I was like, oh wow, they were doing multiverse stuff even back in the 70s.
Yeah, well, that was in issue 161, 2, and 3. Maybe 160. It might be like four-part story.
That's what Jackson Roy Kirk. Yeah, he says 160 through 163.
Yeah, and then 171 through 175 takes place on Counter Earth, the one created by the High Evolutionary.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I saw that because you see at the end of 169, Ben Grimm sees this other thing and he just assumes it's that other Reed Richards.
Yep.
And then Reed's like, "Oh wow, that never even occurred to me to seek out him."
So this is cool. It's like now I want this action figure, like the exoskeleton.
Yeah, it's an exoskeleton of the thing.
This should be an awesome action figure. They build figures, you get the pieces, and you can put like one of the human Ben inside the costume.
Yeah. When I knew they had one because there was a run of Fantastic Four. I forgot who wrote it. The art style threw me off. I tried to read it, but yeah, there was like one of Johnny Storm's girlfriends he gives the thing exoskeleton to. So I think I knew that there was that, but I guess this is where it makes its first appearance. But yeah, Reed makes this exosuit. It's made specifically to tailor to Ben Grimm's DNA and everything.
Can you imagine now Ben wearing this and he puts the helmet on? I can't breathe.
Okay, now look at this cover.
That's a sweet cover.
Kids that have been brought up on comics in the last 10 years.
Her skirt would have been falling. Well,
these are how comic covers used to look. It would have something more often than not something to do with the battle that was to take place in the comics.
Yeah.
And they weren't all just movie posters or I don't know how I said it.
They weren't Blade Runner posters.
Yeah, the cover is a lost art.
Oh, we lost Skip.
Yeah, he said he had to bounce. He's gonna be in the chat though.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I really love that cover because unlike what Ash says, I like the covers that have actually something to do with the interior book.
Yeah.
That used to tear me up inside when I first got into reading floppies, and I'd get a book because the cover would look really cool, but then I'd read the interior and be like, oh, it's it's not the same artist, and B, there's nothing related to the cover.
That was some of that. Some of those were the Straczynski early or Humberto Ramos covers, of the Amazing Spider-Man. Around that time, 2000 to 2007.
Yeah.
Sometimes the covers weren't exactly. It was just they just putting covers on there.
And I don't, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those Adam Hughes Wonder Woman covers that were all just
no.
like gorgeous portraits. But
Yeah.
I miss covers that tell part of the story because
I
again,
missed the 4 parts.
it was a comic book cover
Yeah.
for a comic book.
Yeah.
It's almost like, in addition to the stuff on the interiors being disappointing more often than not, if you're reading the big two, it's almost like it's like they're embarrassed to be doing comics because, as I said, most of them turn into Netflix pitches, even at the big two, or things that could be adapted into. I don't know. It's just something's not there anymore.
Well, I was looking at some of those early covers, like especially the really like the king size annuals, where they actually showed you there's 3 stories in there, so they showed you actually a scene from each story. Those are cool. I know some people don't like those. Some people just like to have it like without having the gutter thing. They like having this like one solid photo.
Well, again, like I said, the industry has completely changed, and I think if you've been around as long as I have, you prefer this style. I can see why younger readers, newer readers prefer the other style because, like I said, it's hard to sometimes when you get people to go back and read some of these old stories, they don't like them as much because either too much happens or I don't know, you get used to a certain way of doing it. If you like the comic book industry the way it is now, you may not like this stuff. Just like, I'm not a big fan of what comes
I was the way I liked it was from just before Civil War, 560 Amazing Spider-Man, and then going up to Siege. That was the way I liked the style they were doing things. But now look, I'm 37 now. I'm going back and reading stuff that I originally didn't care for, but now that I'm just reading more and more, I'm like, you know what? I want to read more about this, So but I said, hopefully in the next, 30, or 20 years, I'll have actually completed a lot of the Fantastic Four.
I think it probably has helped your cause being around, myself and Aaron as much as you are.
That and current Marvel sucks.
Well, you get.
So I'm buying less.
You get reinforced by people that have read and championed these old stories.
Yeah, that's true. That's how I got into All-Star Squadron and JSA.
He's pulling me into the mud.
Actually, this has got me back into Fantastic. When I started reading comics in the first place, Fantastic Four was one of the first books I was reading.
The 90s Power Grid cover. Sorry.
I kind of fell out of it. So now I'm glad to be getting back into it.
I wish.
Well, the 2009 to 2011 Power Girl series is where the covers are.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so we're in 170.
170.
And Ben, didn't work against the Wrecker, didn't work against Power Man, but he's going to punch out the Thing now.
He's going to fight this still version of the Thing. And
then Reed says, "Wow, I was just too shocked to react," and pulls the head off, and that's when we find out that it's an exoskeleton that he's been building.
Oh, there. Hold here. Hold still.
It's just a suit, Ben. Why are you attacking it?
I just love the suit that when Reed puts the helmet on, he's like, it's even got its own baby blues, don't it? He's like, now I'm just as pretty as ever.
Yeah.
No, you gotta say it with that. Now I'm just as pretty as ever.
No, I'm starting to realize where Breen gets his personality from. It is the Thing.
Remember, when he's Ben Grimm.
Oh, that's true. He's very eloquent.
Yes, he's very eloquent.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
But okay, so real quick, they realize they've got to go after Luke Cage. Johnny says he wants to help, but his suit barely touches his arm, and he screams out in pain.
He's got a hurt. Yeah, he's got a hurt hand. Yeah.
So, Ben suits up. And of course, he starts. He tries to feel sorry for himself again, and Reed does what he's done throughout the history of the book. Because he knows what buttons to push.
Yep.
And
Reed is a master manipulator.
Yeah.
And gives Ben the workout that he needs to get ready for what he's doing. And so then it's time to go get some transportation. And the door, instead of waiting for the combo, Ben pulls it off.
Yeah,
to show these guys strength, and we find
showing
out.
that sweet page.
We find out. Well, let's see if there's. Well, this is the page after that, but
It's the bathtub.
it's
Yes.
the flying bathtub that people thought that Johnny. There's a running gag said, "How did Johnny convert a flying bathtub into the new Fantasti-Car?" The answer: he didn't. So that's been sitting there in dry dock all those years.
You know, I think
Or until Roy Thomas remembered that there was one and brought it into the story.
We should just do a retrospective on the bathtub one of these days because that's been through all media, even current, like Ultimate. I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man actually had it where Spider-Man was running in the bathtub.
Yeah. So they're while they're taking off in the flying bathtub, Alicia arrives at the prison to see her stepfather, Philip Masters, because she knows what he's been up to.
Alicia's worked it out. She knows what's going on.
Even if no one there believes it, because he's supposedly locked down tight as a drum.
But he's not really there.
Then no, he's
he
there.
is there. He is there. He's in the prison cell.
Is he there or is he not?
Oh yeah.
there?
Oh no, he's there. But
He's there.
and Alicia knows. She starts feeling around the bricks to find a loose one, to find where he's stashed the puppets. Mm-hmm. Now, where he got the clay to make those, they don't explain. But again, plot armor.
He snuck it in his prison wallet.
But then, right when they discover the Power Man puppet, he shows up to break Puppet Master out of jail. And takes Alicia with him.
I love the ping 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 is the bullets, and they look like glowing because they're not really bullets. It looks just like heat vision or little mini explosions.
Yeah, because the security guards are shooting at him. They're like, it's only ripping his shirt. It's not stopping him at all.
But you know what I mean? They're like little red dots with little black little dots in them too. It's like it's just not normal. I wonder if that's because of the Comic Code Authority. They couldn't actually show is that supposed to be blood?
No.
Or not?
No, because it can't be blood because he's bulletproof.
Or is it supposed to be flashbangs? No,
I think it's just like the little flash that comes from the ricochet. Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's it, because you couldn't have blood because Luke Cage is bulletproof anyway, so you're not going to get blood from him by shooting at him.
The Thing. Who would you think it was? Big Bird.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, the Thing comes. Ben jumps out of the tub, and Luke Cage looks up. He's like, "The Thing, what?" And
yeah. So the two of them are slugging it out on the Fantasti-Car while Puppet Master is driving it, and there's just this big back and forth. It's really, really fun. It's actually a really thrilling fight. I mean, it's a round two, right? Because Ben tried to fight him the first time, or tried to help fight him first. I couldn't do anything.
And it's actually, they kind of established that that Ben's exoskeleton puts him on basically an even keel with Luke Cage.
Right. It doesn't put him at the same power as he was originally as the Thing.
Right,
but
because
it gets him close.
Luke Cage versus the Thing, as the Thing is a mismatch.
Right.
Yeah, but this is kind of, because he said this gives him about 90% of his powers. Now, that's a pretty healthy 10% there, but again, that's kind of how things work in comics. But
So I wonder I was wondering the Puppet Master, how does the people get released from when he's using them? But we see because the Puppet Master falls along with Alicia. He's caught by Reed Richards, and they bring him up to the bathtub. And then, as Luke Cage is battling it out with the Thing, you see the little clay doll glowing falls into the ocean. I'm thinking is he gonna start choking on water that's not there because it's going into the ocean? No, it just all better.
It just negates the
I know.
No one's holding it.
Clay. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Puppet Master has to be holding it, maybe, or has.
I guess so. Is a time limit?
No, when it hits the water.
Yeah.
That's when it loses its properties. It dissolves. It's got radioactive clay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That gives. I guess that makes it work, but So yeah, they're battling it out until now. There's a kind of a cool scene where when they bump into each other, it knocks both the puppet out of Puppet Master's hand and knocks Alicia off the Fantasti-Car.
Yeah.
And they show that the Puppet Master instinctively goes to save his stepdaughter. Now,
Yeah.
Little backstory. Alicia was the daughter of his best friend and business partner that he killed because he wanted his life. That Alicia never found that out. But
Wow.
if you read Marvel Team Up number 6, you get that story.
Wow. Okay.
That's
Dang.
crazy.
I did not know that about the Puppet Master.
That's dark.
That is dark. Dang, Puppet Master.
I mean,
I just thought he was a cool bad guy.
I don't think he killed him in cold blood, but I think his actions led to his death, and then he ended up marrying his,
because he calls her. Does he call her his stepdaughter, or is that like a thought bubble where he thinks?
No. They are. That is his stepdaughter because he married.
Because he married
her mom.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dang, that is dark though. I didn't know that he did that.
This is actually Puppeteen's origin story.
Oh my god.
Because in line we get after the little plastic and a wool doll falls in the water, he's like, wait, hold a minute, Grimm, I'm free. He's like, and like Ben's like, what in blazes are you talking about? He's like, the puppet man, can you dig it? It's not putting the fix on me anymore. It's like, I love the puppet.
And that's basically the end of the story. The wrap up is Ben thinks about maybe proposing.
Yeah.
Because the only family Alicia has is a piece of shit, stepfather.
Yeah.
He goes, maybe it's time that she got a whole new family. So that's where this leaves off.
It only took 40 years for him to follow through on that and marry her.
Sliding time scale.
And how soon after this does he turn back into the thing, like original thing, like with the rocks and everything?
In the next storyline.
Oh, okay.
It takes place on Counter Earth. He mouths off to Galactus one time too many, and Galactus just goes points at him, and basically causes him to. It's like a delay, and he eventually turns back into the thing and just busts out of the exoskeleton.
Oh, okay.
Now, the story that I referenced before, the 2-in-1 Fantastic Four annual, I'm not sure exactly where they fit that in, unless it takes place, from. If you just read, 171 seems to take place pretty quickly after 170. And I'm not sure that there's any way to actually make that fit continuity-wise. But, 50 years later, who cares? But right. I remember 14-year-old me was just, by that because I couldn't make the pieces fit. Because when the Avengers go to choose their new lineup in issue 150, the 151's a 2-part story. 151 begins with Ben sitting by himself, drinking beer, watching the proceedings, and he's got his helmet off to the side, and I'm thinking, okay, when did this happen? So,
you were saying 175 is when his powers are restored, but the next time we see Puppet Master was Iron Fist number 11.
Oh, really? He was an Iron Fist. Okay.
Yeah, it's revealed that Puppet Master was responsible for arresting the people in the last 2 issues of this. So that they have a little flashback to catch up with us.
Puppet Master stays busy in jail.
Because I think is Power Man go into Iron Fist number 11? Is he mentioned or cameo? You think?
No, they hadn't met yet.
Okay.
Oh, in your safe stack.
Good grief.
Now I did tell you because you said you had that. I was on the wall at your LCS. Power or Iron Fist number 12.
Okay.
Zach, I think you were talking.
The one where he fights Captain America.
Yeah.
I said that. You told me how much it was. That's way too much, but 11 and 12 is a great 2-part story.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the whole Iron Fist series is pretty good, but those two were really good. That is the last handful of issues. Yeah, there's a great 2-parter there. Issue 14 is the first Sabretooth, so that's why that.
That's a big one. I know.
Yeah, that's why nobody that. That's a hard series to complete if you didn't already have it complete. And issue 15, he fights the X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Because Jean Grey, later to become the Phoenix, was roommating with Misty Knight, and Danny was starting to get involved with her. And when Danny shows up, a couple of the X-Men don't know who he is and mistake him for a burglar. And Storm ends up getting a bowl of egg salad in her face. And I think it's Nightcrawler says, Lieber Gott, we're in for it now. And she just opens up the heavens, and it's a great issue.
So I looked up Iron Fist from Volume 1, number 11, and they do a flashback. It's because it's Wrecking Crew versus Danny Rand, Iron Fist. But they mention the last time the Wrecker was seen, the whole story with the Fantastic Four, Luke Cage on the team. So they give you a little, because remember, continuity. So everything mattered. That was I just, man, we were spoiled. Everyone who basically going up to the 90s, everything mattered. Now it's just like, all right, I want this one, and I want this one, and I want this one, but hey, look, they're actually working. They're actually nope, they're not.
Yeah, they're and the Wrecker, along with the rest of the Wrecking Crew, have become an absolute joke.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because they were.
Oh my gosh! I just noticed Roger Stern's first appearance is in Iron Fist number 11. The writer
was he?
Cameo.
As a character, yeah, his character.
Oh,
yeah, because the Wrecking Crew, you were telling me about the screen with the Siege story with the Avengers, weren't they one of the ones that...
Under Siege?
Under Siege, yeah, not Siege the 2000s, but Under Siege.
Right.
Aren't they involved in that? In almost killing Hercules, I think.
Yeah, it's the 4 members of the Wrecking Crew: Mr. Hyde, Absorbing Man and Titania. A couple of guys I think that ended up in the Thunderbolts because Zemo put them all together. Moonstone, I think maybe the Fixer and Mentallo. So there's about 11 or 12 people involved in that.
Yeah,
and that's a great storyline too. I mean, that's one of Stern's. The Stern run was phenomenal, but that one. You'd be hard pressed to find a better story than that.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying because it's like you had the Wrecking Crew there, but now you look at them today, and the Wrecking Crew is pretty much they're kind of like the fall guys. They're there for laughs or something like that.
Yeah. Like I said, I would have loved to have the Wrecking Crew in Tom Holland one, but they didn't. They had these other 4 guys robbing a bank.
But there's in this story. Leading up to it, Hercules was having a real problem accepting Jan as the team leader. So he basically stopped respecting her. And what happens to him is basically his own damn fault. Because he goes out and gets hammered. And, Steve Rogers shows up in disguise and leads him back to this van, and Jan's there, and when she tries to tell him to do something, he basically says, "Kiss my ass," breaks out of the van, marches into the mansion, and gets beaten to death. But all because of his, like I said, because he's been drinking like a fish and a lack of respect for Jan. Then and I said, and I mean, the roster of Avengers, because they find a way to get rid of Captain Marvel, and it's the Wasp, Captain America, and the Black Knight, and then Thor shows up later in the story. But it's the Thor that when he lost his immortality, so if he broke a bone, it stayed broken. So
Yeah.
as I said, it's a very well done story.
Speaking of funny stories, I saw a purchase comment about Jan. His
Oh,
tweet. It's like everyone's making a comment about Thor is like, oh, his confidence so confident, and Jan's like, I don't know if he's handsome under the talking about King. What if he's handsome under that costume? And it's like Birch is like, man, Jan just wants to F him.
But that was a running gag though. She said that about everybody.
I mean, shoot, she was making out with Magneto in Secret
But
Wars.
this
I
was 1964.
Oh, okay.
And
I was just like, dang, she's promiscuous. That's all.
Just see the comment I left.
I did, but I can't remember exactly how to word it.
Cap said, well, I could sure go for some Arby's right around now.
Yeah.
Because I think that's Perch's worst nightmare to be marooned on an island that the only thing
Arby's.
to eat is Arby's.
Yeah, it was funny though. They had all the vendors there, but like Cap, they had no dialogue in that panel.
Yeah.
Because he was waiting for Arby's to be built.
So anyway, all right, Zach, I know, or Vanka knows this was your first time for both of you.
Like you said, I like 70s jive, talking and the dialect for Luke Cage, and then you put it up with the Thing, his dialogue and his dialect, all that stuff. It is just awesome. And then you have the action. It's like we just had the Hulk versus the Thing. Now you have Power Man versus the non-Thing, or is it the Thing? Because the exoskeleton suit.
Well, and something else that again modern comics have completely lost sight of. You can do a story with individual stakes that feel just as important as the endless universe-shattering events that these characters go from, one to the next. And that's what I loved about these comics is it's basically a one-on-one superhero fight with a very low-level villain compared to others, but it works because I said that these guys knew how to tell compelling stories.
Yeah, I mean Puppet Master. If you think about it, he's he just has to create a mold of you, but but he's not very imposing.
No,
and that same with Mole Man.
No, Mole Man can fight though. He can
maybe in the comics, but I've seen what they do in the cartoons. He just looks like the guy from Simpsons. Oh dear.
No, but Philip Masters, not so much.
I want to read some more. I want to read the first appearance of Molecule Man. I want to read that.
Yeah, no, I really did enjoy this though. Like I said, I haven't read Fantastic Four in a minute. I really do like these earlier issues, the 100s that I'm reading right now. I've got some Tom DeFalco ones I want to start digging into. I really did like it. I like the whole thing. I like Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm's always been one of my favorite comic book characters, and he's just really because he's got like ups and downs. It's like, first he's happy that he's not the Thing anymore, but then he's kind of bummed because oh well, I'm not a big deal anymore.
His humor though is great though. Like Johnny was always playing pranks on him, and then when and then he's like, great. See Spider-Man is like my life.
Yeah, and this one though, because that's what I was thinking too. Because I know Johnny and Ben are normally at each other's throats.
They were
but
serious.
In this one,
they were like, yeah.
Well, in this one, they were on the same page.
Johnny was nice to him.
I kind of dug that change of pace because nowadays you read it and that's almost what you get. Is you always get Johnny and Ben kind of being like the brothers at each other's throat.
And I would have expected Johnny, whenever Johnny's always immature after he breaks up with the girlfriend. So I figured he would have been a hothead and not wanted to play ball. He would have been just lost in his emotions.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of modern writers, again, they have an idea of what a character is supposed to be because they've heard certain things. Like you hear all these modern writers talk about the Parker Luck. Have no idea what they're talking about, and because they haven't read these books, they've heard about them. They've been told a couple details about them,
Like
But
the whole Peter Tingle. It's like, why don't they just say Spider Sense?
Yeah.
And some of these the movies, I always thought that was kind of weird. It's like, are they not allowed to say that? Like, how do you don't have the rights to that? It's weird.
But-
Anyway, but yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, there's very few writers that are actually still newer writers, let's say, that have come into the hobby that actually understand the characters because they are fans of the characters. They've read these issues and they just want to make good stories because they like creating stories and they are inspired by their old stories.
Well, I said there was never any. These were never supposed to be anything more than comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they weren't even written with an eye towards future cartoon series.
They were not supposed to be stepping stones. They were just like.
So that's
hobby.
That's anyway. We got a shot of bringing this in under an hour.
Yeah,
Hey,
right?
how about that? But yeah, no, this was definitely fun. I'm really glad that we decided to continue on with this run because I really enjoyed it. Got a lot out of it. I'm gonna probably keep on reading some Fantastic Four, getting back into it. Because yeah, one of the things that I do like about them, one of the things I like about the JSA too, is like the whole theme of it tends to revolve around family and that whole dynamic. So I do like seeing that in this series, and so yeah, it's really good. And
Do you know what was even better?
What's that?
There was no freaking Namor in this.
I don't mind Namor so much.
I get sick of that.
Well, the rest of this year, I said a 5-part Galactus High Evolutionary story where they go back to the world where where Thing meets a guy that he was on the Skrull world with when they were both kidnapped to compete in Skrull games. And then it goes right into, like I said, the one-off with Impossible Man, then right into a Frightful Four storyline. In the interim, Reed loses his powers. So when his life gets taken over by another Reed Richards called the Brute, he's able to pull it off initially because Reed can't stretch. So and while that's going on, you got the storyline I was talking about where with the Liberty Legion, the Invaders, and there's your Namor. But it's just so much happened in 1976 for the Fantastic Four. It's a really good year to read.
I feel like a lot of the comic books really started picking up in the 70s.
No, they were
good when they started off. But I mean, like just like the Defenders was when was that? That was Defenders 10 and 11.
73.
Yeah, it's like because I think that the Defenders then they go against the Wrecking Crew too.
In issue 18.
Issue 18.
That's actually the issue that introduces the other 3 members. They show up on the last page of 17, and then they fight in issue 18.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right. So unless we have anything else to talk about, add to the subject, anybody else in the chat has questions about these books, or just Fantastic Four questions in general, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
That's right.
I don't see
I
it.
know they're talking some. I saw some people talking about the Fantastic Four movies a little while ago.
Rhaegar was trying to harass you over your name.
I know. It's like, why are we talking? Listen, I'm actually surprised at Miles Teller. He was able to survive that movie and come back and talk
as the Rooster. Yeah, yep.
So props to him.
Yes.
But,
Jason Kirk saying the Bronze Age is my favorite comics. Rhaegar has a question about the Fantastic Four. If a Fantastic Four came out now, would you buy it?
Would Fantastic Four came out now? I am getting the Fantastic Four book that's out right now. It's the Dan Slott
Zach's
run.
been buying them. Depends who's writing it, and how, like I said, I've been reading a lot of the throwback issues. Like
the Slott run. If you can separate the man from the book, it's not terrible. I know Breen's gonna say. Indiana Slott is. I'm not gonna.
Oh no. What I was gonna say is, at this point, and this applies to Donnie Cates, to Al Ewing, these guys. If you at this point, if you think you've come up with something truly innovative, there may be a reason why it hasn't been done before.
Mhm.
Like maybe there's a reason why Galactus wasn't ever the herald of somebody even more powerful. So, yeah, so I said, so for old guys like me, there's just not enough good new ways to tell these stories. Is sometimes they'd be better off just doing kind of like what John Byrne did
Here's a
40
question.
years ago.
What writer coming back to write a book would make you actually want to go back and pick up a new book?
It depends. I said, because it depends on what they, like.
I mean, the ones that are still alive.
Well, no. So like, if they still wrote the way they did when I liked them.
Yep.
But yeah, Claremont kind of got neutered. Larry Hama is certainly a shell of his former self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said,
Tom DeFalco?
He could probably do that. Yeah,
I'd read Tom DeFalco Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I read. I think he has something to do with that binge book company that I think Michelini wrote one of the issues, and I like those. Jackson, I don't know. We'll find out, because Roy's doing that X-Men Legends book here in about a month.
That's true.
That just blows my mind, because I didn't think he'd ever come back and write another book.
Well, I'm just saying, the only thing I'm not worried about him being woke, because he's not.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well,
and he's not, and no one's going to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned that he's 81.
Yeah, he's not kind
I
of there.
don't. No. It's just,
No, not that.
No,
It's probably just old age.
well, no, you just. I mean, there's. I shouldn't say that. What's his name? Oh God, wrote all the Bernie Rodenbar novels. I think I know the name if you said it. He was writing well into his 80s.
Okay.
Whereas Elmore Leonard, not so much. So it really depends.
Is Dan still alive?
Dan
Who?
who?
I guess Danny Thomas?
Danny Thomas?
Danny Thomas has been dead for 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, his wife.
Yeah.
I was thinking, the comedian. Yeah,
Oh.
they're still married. And
Only 81. He could be president, says Glinzer.
Ah!
Yeah. I got that right away. It was like, is Dan, because sometimes they actually wrote it as Dan and not Danny. I don't think I ever wrote it listed it as Danny.
Yeah, I think it's always been Dan with the two ends.
Yeah.
Maybe an I thrown on the end sometimes, but
I wouldn't read X-Men even if Claremont came back.
Really?
Well, that's why we're asking Brain.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I may read the Roy Thomas one just out of respect, because I love the guy.
True. He says that she'll help and co-wrote.
They're like Walter and Louise Simonson.
Yeah,
kinda?
yeah. Like he said, Walt Simonson's story though in that Thor, the big anniversary day. When we But Cates did this. It was a eulogy for Odin. So the throwback stories, Straczynski wrote one, and then Walt Simonson wrote one too. They were both great.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, the one I just read, I was showing to off today that Thor book, that was Ralph Macchio. Wow, if he came back and if he can't, I don't know who he is and all, but I would have him just writing at least 20 to 30 issues, man. Just give me another story in that style of the 90s, or late 80s Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long a shelf life those would have.
I'd buy all.
I mean, but
give me a trade.
No, I mean because like I said, I know they're there kind of like to catch a nostalgia wave.
Yeah.
The parents that used to read comics, they're bringing their kids in now, and they
Probably
might
grandparents.
see something, or they see, oh wow, Symbiote Spider-Man. I remember that from when I was a kid. And getting it that way, but I don't know. I mean, I would love it if those would take off and stay successful, but
Yeah.
Right? What I would love is that if they're smart, Like, because when the Batman movie came out, all of a sudden they're like, oh, all these trades, like the Mad Love, the Long Halloween, and all these different Batman big epic stories, like were all in hardcovers, soft covers, in a box that says the Batman for the movie. Well, you got these books coming out, like Symbiote Spider-Man. You have what was the Peter David Hulk when it came out with Maestro.
Yeah,
they should have these new issues, and right next to them they should have the trades.
But I also don't think
the collections of
I
those
don't
stories.
think that's I don't think that's the audience these companies want anyway.
I know.
Term.
Yeah,
but I think they, like I said, like I noticed a lot of Epic collections coming out. They just came out with the Volume 3 She-Hulk.
Oh, they'll
yeah.
I mean, they'll. Fortunately, there's still a department that realizes that there's ways to get in this older generation's wallets.
Yep.
Without while they continue to groom the audience, they
$125 for like the brand new hardcover on the business.
Shoot. Well, they do that because they know the older generation.
And then they
the ones with jobs.
And then they have the variant cover of the omnibus.
Oh, I got.
So you got to choose. It's like
when Jerry and I ordered the 3rd volume of Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus, one of the variant covers was the 101 where Morbius first appearance.
Yeah.
And we both wanted that, but they told us only one of us could have it.
Oh.
One per order. So I took the J. Scott Campbell regular cover.
Make trade.
About 6 months later, that Morbius cover was worth $400.
Oh,
shoot.
It came all the way back down, but
dang.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Jeez.
But anyway,
you missed the Morbid time.
I said, if I'm going to jump off here. If you guys want to keep yapping, I said, don't let you.
Oh no! Well, as soon as you leave with all these bad, cool history facts, everyone's gone.
I was like, we got nothing.
We got nothing.
I didn't eat yet, and it's getting close to midnight.
Yeah, go for it, dude. No,
all right, so if you guys have suggestions for next week's maybe retrospective,
any suggestions, drop them in the comments.
In the comment section down below after we end this, and then we'll take a look at them.
Yeah, let us know
the ones that get the most, the people that.
Just bear in mind, I said this isn't so much like the best stories.
No.
As much as I said, age is important on this. Because, I mean, there's really no point in doing something from 2010 because these guys know it already.
That's true.
Actually, those, what are you talking about? Those don't exist at all.
Yeah,
the 2010s?
Wow, I know Siege, but anything after 2012, I'm done.
Yeah, that's same here.
So if you ask for Kamala Khan, check out I Love Comics. He's got all 5 origins.
Wait, but what about America Chavez? Breen knows America Chavez.
True. A deep dive with America Chavez.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Crossing Borders with Eric Breen and America Chavez.
I'm not showing up for that. Sorry. Respect to Breen, but I'm not showing up.
All right, yeah. So I said, like, if you have ideas, and then if one book or one suggestion gets a lot of repeats, from other people, not just you posting 5 comments, we'll consider maybe doing that.
5 comments. No, shoot, screw that. If you want us to retrospect on like Amazing Spider-Man 200 and blah blah blah, type it like 10 times in the comments. More comments. It doesn't matter what you're typing. The comments help the algorithm. So yeah,
I guess so.
Put 10 Amazing Spider-Mans in the thing if that's what
hey, weren't you just saying you're done with Spider-Man?
That's the reading, not for the retrospective. There's a difference.
You know what? Maybe we'll do an X-Men story. You know what? We've done the Fantastic Four. We
haven't done an X-Men. You're right.
Spider-Man.
We haven't done X-Men.
Yeah, so it's like.
Well, I asked if you guys even read the Dark Phoenix saga.
I have not. I've
read parts of it. I've read parts of it. I haven't read the thing in its entirety.
I've only watched the cartoon and watched the movie.
I bet you that's something we could get Ash on here to talk about. Right. Ash loves X-Men.
How about 122 and 123? First Arcade.
Ooh. I like Arcade. Okay. 122 and 123. I'm gonna write that down.
Is that uncanny?
Nice
or is that
little palate cleanser, and then we can tiptoe our way towards the Dark Phoenix saga because you guys do need to read that.
Heck yeah, that's I know that's like required reading.
Yeah.
Not just for X-Men, but just like for Marvel in general.
All right.
So, but alrighty, yeah. So I think that's what we're still. Don't let that dissuade you from commenting on what books you'd like to see us retrospect on in the future, though. So if there is something you'd like us to check out, still put them in the comments. We'll still take it into consideration. But yeah, it looks like next week we'll do some Uncanny X-Men with Arcade. Sounds cool.
And you'll get to see a story where Arcade was a formidable villain and not the joke that he has become. And
Is
on that
that-
note,
All right. We're gonna end that, and I'll ask you behind the scenes. But all right. Ash says, "Pick the good stuff, Breen."
I think I did.
I think you did.
I think
Sounds
so,
good
too.
to me.
All right. On that note, I'm happy to see that we actually broke the double digits for a while.
Nice.
Cool.
That's kind of cool. I also know that we're getting a lot of subscribers. So, and yeah, thank you guys for all the likes. The especially the new people are joining in. I hope you guys enjoy the content. We have a lot of stuff in the back contents, a lot of variety. Yeah.
As Marania saying, there's the Ko-Fi link in the chat. If you want us to
Yep.
donate even $1, it helps goes towards paying for. We use the DC Universe Online or the Marvel Online.
It's just there because we're not nowhere near being monetized. This is mainly just for fun channel, but we do read books. So if you want to help with the channel, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
If not, that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
take likes and comments just the same as donations.
If we need the money, we'll sell Breen. He'll show up at your house and he'll give you a history lesson.
You won't get much.
Right.
Hey, Ash, no, seriously, if you've read these X-Men stories, you should totally come on the show next week. If you've read the Arcade issues.
Isn't it implied? Like we say X-Men, he's like,
yeah, I mean, you're the X-Men fan. You're the big X-Men guy. So yeah, I would expect it.
I just have one thing to say about that.
What's that?
No one asked him to leave.
That's true.
If he had stayed, he could have been part of the process.
That's true.
That's true. Even Skip was on here, and Skip, I didn't really issue this.
He's got you there, Ash. He's got you there, buddy.
All right.
We're gonna wrap this up.
20 minutes later.
20 minutes later, we're about to leave. All right. But y'all have a good night, and we will see y'all. Be sure to go check out Vinkman and Ash tomorrow night. They and probably Professor Pixel are going to
11 p.m.
At 11 p.m. Central.
11 p.m. Central. Yes.
11 p.m. Central. So that's midnight on the East Coast. I think that's like 9 o'clock on the West Coast.
And that's on Ash on Comics.
Ash on Comics. Go check out his channel tomorrow night. They're going to be talking about the boys.
But before that, check out I Love Comics for Rawhide. Sorry, yours truly, Eric Green.
Hey.
How long is that going to go on for? How raw can his hide be?
It's going
honey,
deep.
You haven't seen anything yet. One to go.
Oh boy. But yeah, you should have checked out that over on I Love Comics tomorrow night as well.
That's at 10 Eastern.
10 o'clock Eastern time.
All right.
All right. Well, good night, kids.
Good night, old man.
Goodbye.
Good night, John Boy.
Y'all come back now, you hear?